Now, the point of interest, and I will read it to you verbatim. The 10th Senate recognized the fact that President Tinubu, by virtue of his correspondent, had not asked for the approval of the parliament to go to war with Niger, as erroneously being suggested in some quarters. You have your media correspondents there at the National Assembly, especially the Senate. They can take the letter and show you. Now I will continue. Mr. President only expressed a wish to respectfully solicit the support of the 10th Senate and by extension the National Assembly for a successful implementation of the ECOWAS resolution as outlined in their communique. So this issue of the president wrote a letter to deploy to Niger Republic, no, there are procedures for going into war, which I'm sure you know very well in the Constitution. One, the House of Reps are already in recess. We are, the senators, we are still around because of the ministerial screening. So I know very well the president, President Bola Tinubu, is a complete Democrat, and he knows the procedures on how to go to war. So that impression is not accurate. Instead, I can tell you, again, one of the resolutions, because the Senate raised observations, and of course the northern senators, not that they just objected. Of course, they have solutions. And that solution was accepted by Senate, the 10th Senate. And I will read again, which is the 6th resolution. The leadership of the Senate has been mandated to further engage Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces on behalf of the senators to resolve the issue in view of the cordial relationship between Nigeria and Niger. So what I can tell you is that we have some solutions which definitely we cannot put it on the public domain now until the leadership of the Senate are able to engage with Mr. President, and then he will further discuss with other head of states. Then, of course, I'm sure you will know. The options the senators have in the closed session are cheaper, is going to maintain our relationship with Niger Republic. That is what I can tell you. So that impression, please, I'm telling...
All the concerns that your northern senators have raised and should be taken very seriously if we're to take that decision, or if the president were to take that decision to go into Niger.
All right. Thank you for that question. Now, this is my opinion now. Being a senator, one of the senators in the northern states, definitely, like you rightly said, is going to go into, if there's any word more than catastrophe for the people living in the northern states of Nigeria. Like I told you, these harmless refugees are already there in Niger Republic. And if you look at history very well, these days, when you declare a war or you invade a country, you are not only just fighting that country, you are also going to patronize what we call military contractors. Of course, there is a military government right now in Niger Republic. They are in control of most of the military arsenals in Niger now. So, in my opinion, going into war with Niger Republic should be ruled out because, one, I can assure you the leadership will open the armory of the Niger Republic in the name of trying to defend their country. And of course, non-state actors will take advantage of that. Secondly, a rich man can employ these military contractors, which actually they are mercenaries. They are all over the world. Remember how Russia thought they could just crush Ukraine. Today, you know what is going on there. The military contractors are there, brought in by so many countries. So it is not easy to just go into a war and think you will predict the end. So I am part of the northern state senators, and I can tell you categorically, in my opinion, it is not in the interest of Nigeria. Remember, Niger has a very long border with Nigeria. The Boko Haram and ISWAP activities are still, and the bandits, still active in the northern part of the country. And I can remind you too that there is a treaty. While I was still in service, I don't know whether it has changed now, when the Boko Haram challenges were so severe, we entered with our neighboring countries, that is A soldier from Cameroon can pursue bandits into Nigeria. He doesn't need any permission. Vice versa from Nigeria into Cameroon. And that was why we were able to, or the military was able to curtail some activities with, of the bandits. And I can tell you, Niger has very much cooperated with Nigeria in the fight against insurgency. So going into war with Niger, we are going to sever a relationship that honestly is going to destabilize many states in the northern part of the country.
Okay.
So I, as an individual, object to that war.
Okay, dear Senator, is it not that the Senate is trying to play on the intelligence of Nigerians? Because in your communique, you expressly stated that the president didn't send a request for war as reported in the media. You're trying to denigrate the media. And I'll prove it to you, what you said is wrong. The president actually requested for war. Part of the ECOWAS protocol, the president and some other ECOWAS leader wrote, there was a case for a no-fly zone. And I'm sure you are in the Air Force. You know that a no-fly zone, effective a no-fly zone, is a case of aggression. Take, for instance, we want to infect that no-fly zone. We put our planes in the air. You think the Nigerians are going to take it lightly? You think they are not going to fly their planes to challenge our planes in the sky? Is that not an escalation already? Wasn't a no-fly zone written initially in the ECOWAS papers? As long as also with a close of the border? So why are they saying this? Why are the senators saying this now? Isn't it time for us to call a spade in this country? Is it a no-fly zone in another man's airspace? Aggression?
Okay, you know, I cannot see your pictures from your studio here, but I guess it's El-Rufai. I want to put it back to you. You are the one that is wrong. I have Mr. President's letter here with me. If you have it, read your own. Remember too, and let's get one thing clear. Now I'm talking to you as a retired general. ECOWAS no-fly zone. When the coupists, when they launched their coup, they said air border closed. Air border closed and no-fly zone are all the same because even the coupists don't want any aeroplane there. So I am not in a position to tell you how the ECOWAS heads of state, how they came about the no-fly zone resolution. I am not in a position to that, and I doubt whether any senator I can remember any senator telling how they come about it. Because what you are actually saying is that even the coupists, they said they don't want aircraft. That is why in their speech they said all air borders closed, land borders closed. Air closed is what? No-fly zone. So in essence, we are even doing what they want. So how will you now say we are playing on Nigerians?
Senator, it was just yesterday that the military junta declared shutting of their airspace. As at 3 days ago, French, Belgian, and other contingents evacuated their citizens from Niger from that airport on good authority. It was just yesterday they closed their airspace in reaction to the fact that based on the ECOWAS provisions, which the president sent a letter to the Senate to help look at, was to effect a no-fly zone. It was just yesterday they closed their airspace into today. Because as of 2 days ago, 3 days ago, the French still evacuated people, the Belgians still evacuated people. And that's why I'm saying that when the senators are saying, no, it's not an invitation to effecting a no-fly zone, sir, you have a lot of experience in the military. You know it's an act of aggression. That's why, despite the war in Russia and Ukraine, nobody has been able to effect a no-fly zone because they know it's an act of aggression. That's what I'm just saying. Let's clarify there.
Now, and the clarification I can bet you, I will ask you some questions. I am talking now as an aviator. What is the difference between air border closed, airspace closed, no-fly zone? These are just semantics. So the fact that it was yesterday that somebody in the Niger Republic said the airspace is closed. When they said air border closed, what is that? Does an aircraft not pass through somewhere, air border? All these are just semantics. And I can tell you, normally, no matter how, even when the NATO declared no-fly zone in Libya, of course, when you get permission, you will still be able to fly into that place. Remember that Mr. President Bola Tinubu has also, and by extension ECOWAS, they have sent a delegation there. The fact that they said air border closed, airspace closed, no-fly zone, does not mean you will not get permission to fly into Niger Republic and also take off from there. That is what I'm telling you, Rufai. Like I said, I can't see your pictures from the screen here in Abuja.
Well, Senator, the Nigerians, they've been very disrespectful to Nigeria. That's another side of the story. The last delegation that President Tinubu sent, General Abdulsalam Abubakar and the Sultan of Sokoto, they were met at the airport, and junior officers were asked to come and talk to them. That's another matter that we can deal with separately. But you were Chief of Policy and Plans with Nigeria Air Force. Now, part of the narrative by northern senators has been that, look, it's the people of the 7 states along that over 1,000 square kilometers between Nigeria and Niger that will suffer. But is it not all of us that will suffer? When Niger says it has closed its airspace, it means that if people want to go to Europe, they will have to go and look for another route. If Burkina Faso and Mali, if they join Niger in also closing their airspace, are we not going to be paying more, all of us who may want to go to Europe, because that could affect aviation and constitute some kind of distress for all of us, whether we're from the north or from the south? Is that how it works? So that all of us can know that we all face the risk together, and it's not an ethnic thing or geographical matter.
Okay, I can tell you, Dr. Ruben, about it, because I can recognize your voice very well. What you are saying is right, because I also have a friend. Immediately the coup happened, he was supposed to travel with Lufthansa from, of course, Germany to Abuja. Of course, the airspace was closed. And that is exactly what I was trying to tell Rufai. Airspace closed, air border closed, no-fly zone, they are all the same. Definitely, I am not in support of airspace closed. This is my own opinion now, not the opinion of the 10th Senate. I am talking, like you said, former Chief of Policy and Plans and as an aviator. Definitely those things are going to affect flights going not just to West Africa, even southern part of Africa, because if you check very well, all flights coming from Europe, you come from Algeria will hand you over to Niamey. So with this now, definitely people are going to pay more. Aviators, especially those traveling by air to Europe, I can tell you it's going to be a very tough, longer distance. You cannot plan your activities very well. And remember, there are even some airplanes, some airlines that insurance will not even agree. But like I said, I agree with you. So that issue of airspace closed, air border closed, no fly zone, Senator Napoleon Bali, I don't agree with it, because people are going to suffer more. And like you said, definitely it's not going to be the 7 states that will suffer again. Remember, these military leaders in Niger Republic, they are in control of the national armories now. So of course, if they discover that they can be overrun, remember too that Burkina Faso, Mali has already pledged that they are going to support them. So we are talking of a group of some ECOWAS countries facing another group of ECOWAS countries. I can tell you it's catastrophe. So in my personal opinion, it is not only the northern state governors that will, states that will suffer. At the end of it all these illegal weapons, if they open their armory, because it is a matter of you are coming to overrun us, what are we going to do? It is going to be free for all. So eventually all these illegal weapons will infiltrate into Nigeria majorly. And I can remind you again, which is this is again my own personal opinion. Remember there was a coup in Burkina Faso. Why didn't ECOWAS mobilize troops to the northern part of Ghana? There was a coup in Mali. Why didn't ECOWAS mobilize troops to part of Senegal? Why Nigeria? So in my own opinion, I object to going into any war with Niger Republic.
Okay.
Instead, like I told you, the Senate is still classified. We have some options
here that maybe the Senate will work from 10 a.m. till 12 midnight. They will see it as a justification for the fat pay that you guys get. But with the passion that northern senators bring to this matter of Niger, it's good you have established that all of us will be affected one way or the other because the country belongs to all of us. But do you think that there could be a threat of internal sabotage for the Tinubu administration? Because some of the northern commentators, some of them sound like they are Nigerians. They are talking of their bedroom being in Niger, their sitting room being in Nigeria. Do you think that we also face the threat of internal sabotage in case Nigeria joins other ECOWAS countries to invade Niger?
Again, this is my personal opinion based on my experience. Definitely there will be sabotage within the military operations. Why am I saying this? Like you know very well, we have a lot of insecurity, although the military are trying their best to ensure that this, we are not just talking about ISWAP and Boko Haram now. We are talking of banditry. Banditry have ransacked and sacked so many communities, remote areas. While I was still in service in 2019, I was directed then by the leadership of the military to relocate to Katsina. And I can tell you, it is true. Some people, some villages that are bordering Niger and Nigeria, they don't sleep in Nigeria because most likely you are not sure because most of these non-state actors operate mostly in the night. So that is true. But when you say sabotage President Tinubu, that one, I don't want to agree with it, but definitely sabotaging military operation, operating from northern state, that one I can tell you personally from my experience is for sure because you are trying to bring trouble into my house. Why will I allow you? Although we are all Nigerians. So the simple answer is that there is every likelihood that there will be a lot of sabotage to any military operation launched from Nigerian border with Niger.
All right, Senator Bali, let's talk about the president in the eventuality, if eventually the ECOWAS bloc decides that despite the resolution or the communique by the Senate to the president, still go ahead because they have given an ultimatum, even though they've met and the Senate has said they should explore more diplomatic and conversations with regards to what's happening in Niger. In the event that they go ahead with this war, can Nigeria afford it? Having worked with the Air Force yourself, you would know the cost of war. In terms of approval of monies, a budgetary sum, do we have the facility to execute a war?
Well, like you said, and I will choose my words, in the unlikely event that the ECOWAS heads of state insist that militarily will intervene, of course, every soldier knows that when you join the military, whether you are in Nigeria, you are in Senegal or Ghana, of course, once the leader said go, you go. But I can tell you, we are going to pay a price because, like I've told you recently, which I know that military strategists all over the world will be pondering what is going to happen. Because now, when you invade a country or you declare a war, most times people hire military contractors. Like I told you, the West just changed the name military contractors, but they are actually mercenaries. Of course, it's going to be bloody. But at the end of it all, if the political leaders provide what the military leadership under the Chief of Defense Staff, General Musa, why not? Our soldiers are well trained. They will go in but we will make sure, we will advise them that let every ECOWAS country first must contribute